It's not good, the air is missing. Hearing the commotion upstairs, I yanked off the red veil from my head. Looking at the familiar scene before me, I instantly felt like I had plunged into an ice cave. In my previous life, on my wedding day, my fiancé Du Yinghao eloped with Wang Wanjin, whom he had redeemed from a brothel, leaving me alone at the joyous wedding. Helpless, I had to go through the ceremony with a rooster. Half a month later, Du Yinghao was captured and brought back. The Marquis declared that Wang Wanjin could only enter the manor if I became pregnant. For the sake of his beloved girl, Du Yinghao had to obediently listen and consummate the marriage with me. After 10 months of pregnancy, I gave birth to a son. During my confinement, news came that the Marquis, at the front lines, had been shot and killed. With the Marquis gone, my life became increasingly difficult. I couldn't even find a doctor when my child fell ill. For the sake of my child, in the dead of winter, I knelt in the snow and begged for 3 days and 3 nights, but still no doctor came. Finally, I watched helplessly as my child stiffened in my arms. Upon hearing the news, Wang Wanjin arrogantly and triumphantly told me that not only my child's death, but even the Marquis's death, were traps she and the people behind her had set. Hearing this, filled with grief and indignation, I plunged the hairpin in my hand into Wang Wanjin's throat. My suicide attempt failed. Du Yinghao broke my bones, cut off my tongue, and I died writhing in pain. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to my wedding day. Our Du family has wronged you. If you wish to break off the engagement, this Marquis, will personally send you back. Seeing Du Yuan, the Marquis of Wuan, alive and well on the main seat, my eyes immediately welled up. Du Yuan is not old, just past 30. Rumor has it that he was injured in battle, which is why Du Yinghao was adopted from a secondary branch. This marriage was personally sought by Du Yuan, but unexpectedly, on the day of the grand wedding, he was directly slapped in the face by his adopted son. Recalling his protection of me in my past life and his untimely death, I cried even harder. Seeing this, a hint of panic appeared on Du Yuan's cool and distinguished face. You ran. This is my fault for not being able to restrain Yinghao. However, whatever you decide to do is just a word away. No matter your choice, our Du family will have no complaints. After what happened in my past life, I, lost and helpless, sought help from my family. I waited for a long time before receiving a reply from my stepmother. She said that a daughter of the Chui family would die alone outside, and there was no reason for her to be sent back. It was out of desperation that I married a rooster. Thinking of this, I stared directly at Du Yuan. I want to marry, but the groom must be changed. Du Yuan glanced at the many Du family descendants below, fiddled with his fingers, and said, "All right, choose any young man from the Du family you like." I pointed at him with my finger. "I want to marry you." As soon as these words were spoken, the entire hall fell silent. Me? No. Du Yuan refused directly. Does the Marquis look down on you, Ran? How could that be? You come from a prestigious family, are well, read and reasonable, and your good name is widely known. Otherwise, I wouldn't have personally come to your door to propose for my scoundrel. After hearing this, I pressed on. Since that's the case, the Marquis is unmarried, and I'm unwed. Why can't I choose you? Du Yuan's face showed a hint of embarrassment. This is not in accordance with reason. I am your future father. In law. Not anymore. He will be my husband from now on. Saying that, I stuffed the red silk in my hand into his. Let's perform the ceremony. This, as the red silk entered his hands, Du Yuan reacted as if he had touched something burning. He couldn't accept it nor refuse it, and his gaze, seeking help, turned to the clan elder beside him. The Marquis should have married long ago. Since Miss Chui is willing, then let it be. Yes, the Marquis should also start a family. I think this young lady is quite suitable. Yes. Once the Marquis is married, we can all rest assured. Hearing this, Du Yuan stood up and bowed repeatedly. Esteemed clan elders, please stop joking. If this matter gets out, it will damage Miss Yuan's reputation. Seeing that he disagreed, I stood there stubbornly, tears on the verge of falling. On the day of the grand wedding, my fiancé eloped. May I ask, Marquis, what reputation do I have left? Our Chui family's daughters only die alone in the outside world. There is no reason for them to be sent back. Since the Marquis disagrees, then I will just throw myself against this pillar. Saying that, I lunged towards the nearby pillar. My speed was fast, but Du Yuan's figure was even faster. I ran directly into him. Marquis, if you don't marry me, don't save me, let me die. Tears finally fell from my eyes. Seeing this, Du Yuan sighed. You girl, alas, alright. Anyway, I, Du Yuan, have done enough absurd things, so one more won't hurt. It's just getting married, we'll go through with this wedding. As he spoke, he picked up the bridal veil and put it back on me. Let's begin. Seeing Du Yuan give the word, the officiant who had been waiting beside them quickly waved. Hurry, play the music, play the music. The Marquis is about to perform the wedding ceremony. The festive suona played, and I held the red silk, holding the happiness that belonged to me. In the bridal chamber, Du Yuan and I faced each other. I've wronged you. How could it be? I'm so much happier than marrying that beast doing how. I covered his mouth. It's not a wrong. You ran as willing. Please show me more affection. Marquis. In the future, the red curtain fell, a night of passion. Waking up the next day, I clutched my waist, which was almost broken, and couldn't help but curse. Who on earth spread the rumor that the Marquis was injured and impotent? In the evening, the housekeeper reported that Doing How had returned. I was a little surprised. So soon. In my previous life, he wasn't caught and brought back until half a month after his wedding. Make that unfilial son get in here. Du Yuan patted my hand. I'm here for everything. Thank you for your trouble, Marquis. She should have been the wife, but now she has become the mother. I can't wait to see the scene where Doing How kneels and serves me tea. In the outer hall, Wang Wanjin, delicate and timid, leaned on Doing How's side. Her weakness and harmlessness were this woman's weapons, but in reality, she was a man-eating demon. Seeing the two of them, the experiences of my past life flashed before my eyes, and my eyes burst with bloodthirsty hatred. I wished I could just grab a knife and hack these two scumbags to death. Seeing me stop, Du Yuan took my hand, enveloped by his warm palm. All the hostility in my heart instantly dissipated. In this life, I am not fighting alone. I have the Marquis. Hearing the commotion, Doing How looked up and his gaze swept over my clasped hand and the Marquis, his eyes going wide. Father, are the rumors true? Did you really marry Cui Yuan? How dare you? How can you carelessly call your legitimate mother by her name? Scolded Bloody, Doing How was dumbfounded. Father, this is not right. What nonsense. Daring to use the same excuse as the Marquis, seated on the main seat, I sneered. I didn't know the heir apparent was such a person who valued etiquette. But how can someone who values etiquette so much elope with a prostitute? On his wedding day, you bitch. Meeting Du Yuan's gaze, Doing How instantly backed down. He whispered in defense, Wan Jin and I are true love. Chapter 2. Imperial Edict issued. Marquis departs for the border early. Oh, congratulations to the heir apparent for finding true love. Hearing my taunt, Doing How got angry again and pointed at me, saying, Father, if you marry her, our Marquis manor will be laughed at. Shut up. When did my affairs become your turn to boss around? Look at what you are. You openly ran away from your wedding with a prostitute. On your grand wedding day, you've already disgraced our Marquis manor. Guards, drag this beast out for family punishment. Doing How was held down on a long bench, and Du Yuan personally supervised the punishment. With one stroke of the rod, Doing How cried out in pain, Father, I was wrong. I was wrong. Please let me go. On the side, Wan Jin kowtowed with loud thuds. Marquis, spare his life. It is this servant who admired the young master, which led the young master to commit such a grave mistake. All mistakes, all wrongs are this Wan Jin's fault. I beg the Marquis to spare the young master. Ignoring Wan Jin's pleas, Du Yuan spoke directly to the servant. Continue hitting. Doing How's cries grew weaker. Just as he was about to faint, Wang Wanjin rushed forward, crying, It's all Wan Jin's fault. If the Marquis must blame someone, then punish Wan Jin as well. Seeing that Du Yuan was reluctant to speak, I stepped forward and said, What a devoted and righteous girl. Since you wish it so, I will fulfill your wish. Hit them. Wan Jin, stop it. Don't hit anymore. Doing How hadn't gotten up yet before he was pushed down again, and a thick wooden stick was swung at both of them. Young master. Ah, it hurts. Wang Wanjin was crying so pitifully, like pear blossoms in the rain. Seeing her miserable state, Doing How cursed angrily, Cui Yuan, you goddamn. Just you wait. I'm not done with you. Hearing the curses, Du Yuan's face darkened. An unrepentant beast. Beat him hard. Ah. Doing How let out a pained scream. Father, I was wrong. I was wrong. I lost my head. I'll never dare to do it again. Seeing their miserable state made me extremely happy. Such deep affection. Alright. You two better be tied together forever in this life. Fleeing from marriage before battle is offense number 1. Bringing shame to the clan is offense number 2. Insulting your stepmother is offense number 3. Doing How, do you know your wrongs? Doing How struggled to get off the bench and knelt on the ground. I was wrong. Wrong. Really wrong. Please father, spare me this time. Apologize to your mother. Father, Du Yuan glared. Are you unwilling? Doing how deflated and obediently kowtowed. Mother, I was wrong. I sneered. We're all family. No need to talk about right or wrong. It's just about respecting elders and order. Don't break the rules in the future. You. Doing how barely suppressed his anger and obediently replied. Yes, mother's teachings are correct. This is just the beginning. In this life, you will slowly repay what you owe me and our child from your past life. Seeing that Du Yuan was no longer angry, Doing how hurriedly said, Father, I want to marry Wan Jin. A prostitute wanting to be the wife of the heir apparent is a huge joke. She couldn't do it in her past life, and she won't even think about it in this life. As expected, Du Yuan was furious when he heard this. You rebellious son, you want her to enter the mansion, only after I'm dead. Hearing this, my heart tightened, and I grabbed Du Yuan's hand and said, Marquis, it's unlucky to say such things on our grand wedding day. However, marriage is about mutual consent. Why don't we hear what Miss Wang plans to do? Wang Wanjin endured the pain in her body, knelt down and kowtowed, then said tearfully, Your servant knows she is not worthy of the heir apparent, but your servant truly loves the heir apparent. Even as a servant or maid, she is willing. I asked the Marquis to fulfill it, advancing by retreating. I knew she would say this. Don't say things like being a servant or maid. The heir apparent was willing to elope on his grand wedding day for you. This affection is as clear as day. If we don't let you stay by our side to serve, it would make us seem petty. As soon as these words were spoken, a hint of joy appeared in Wang Wanjin's eyes. It's a pity she's happy a little too early, madam. Du Yuan shook his head disapprovingly. I know what he's thinking, but Wang Wanjin is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Only by keeping her under my watchful eye can I keep her in check. I offered a reassuring look and continued, since Miss Wang wants to enter the matter, then come in. Our Marquis manor isn't lacking for another mouth to feed. As for status, she'll be the heir's concubine. What do you think, Miss Wang? Upon hearing my words, Wang Wanjin's shocked expression flashed by. She definitely wouldn't have imagined that after enduring so much hardship, she would only be a concubine. I respectfully obey madam's command. Wang Wanjin's stubborn and wronged expression made Doing House heart ache. I don't agree. If the heir is unwilling, then send Miss Wang out. No, no, no. This servant is willing. Heir, this servant is willing. Seeing this, Wang Wanjin hurriedly covered Doing House's mouth. Heir, please don't say that. This servant is willing. As long as I can stay by the heir's side, no matter the status, this servant is willing. I sneered. Congratulations to the heir for finding a beautiful bride. Guards, escort the heir back. After they left, Du Yuan sat aside sulking. Madam, you shouldn't have kept that woman. Wang Wanjin came from a brothel and her background is unknown. I know what Du Yuan is worried about. Sitting down beside him, I opened my mouth. Marquis, I actually had a nightmare last night. Oh, what dream. I dreamt that this Miss Wang was sent by the third prince, so I want to keep her under my watch. I omitted the fact that I married Doing How in my previous life. There are some debts I want to settle myself. The third prince. Du Yuan was astonished. He's frail and sickly, and doesn't participate in court struggles. Did you Ran make a mistake? We'll know by watching, won't we? After hearing this, the Marquis's face was full of solemnity. Do you know why this Marquis would rather adopt a child than get married? I shook my head. During the Battle of Linbeipo, the reinforcements arrived late, causing countless casualties to the Du family army, and even my father, the Marquis, was shot by a stray arrow and died. Afterwards, the imperial court executed 2 scapegoats, and the matter was dropped. After my father, the Marquis, died, my mother also committed suicide. I've been secretly investigating for so many years, and all the clues point to the palace. Who could have such great power to command the 3 armies? The person behind it is self-evident. After this incident, I was afraid of harming other girls, so I spread rumors. As he spoke, he looked at me with apologetic eyes. I didn't expect to drag you into this. Marquis, don't say that. This is my choice, and I don't regret it. Just then, the housekeeper ran into the backyard with an anxious expression. Marquis, someone from the palace is here, saying they want to invite the Marquis into the palace. Someone from the palace. At this time, the Marquis and I looked at each other, not knowing if it was a blessing or a curse. Du Yuan patted my hand reassuringly. Madam, please go back first. I'll be back soon. The Marquis didn't return until midnight. When he came back, he brought the news that the Emperor had ordered him to go to the border and depart immediately. Upon hearing the news, I trembled all over. What on earth was going on? In my past life, the Marquis was only sent to the border 6 months after I got married. How did it get moved up in this life? Chapter 3. Fighting. Whoever has the harder fists wins. No matter what. The imperial order has been issued and there's no possibility of changing it. We have to part so soon after the wedding. It's really hard to say goodbye, Yuan. I've made you suffer by being with me. Yuan took the clothes from my hands and put them aside, then pulled me onto his lap and gently rubbed his head on me. Marquis, please don't say such things. You don't know how happy I was to marry you, so how could I be suffering? Stroking my long hair, Yuan's eyes were full of reluctance. This trip to the border will take at least a year, or even 3. After I leave, you must be extremely careful. I'll leave some of the Du family soldiers with you. These are the elite assassins of the Du family. There aren't many of them, but one can fight 100. Also, the third prince. If your dream is true, then be very careful of this person. As for that Wang Wanjin, I will find a reason to kill her before I leave. I shook my head. We can't kill her. If she's dealt with openly now, and then another Chao Wanjin or Li Wanjin appears, it will be impossible to guard against. Marquis, you just go. I will help you keep the home safe. Yuan's expression sharpened, and after a moment he nodded. Madam speaks wisely, but keeping this woman in the manor is still a threat. Didn't the Marquis leave people for me too? If it's really necessary, it's not too late for me to kill her then. Alright, I'll listen to my wife. After speaking, Yuan rubbed his fingers and said after thinking for a moment, this scoundrel Inghao, he's from a declining branch of our Du family. His parents died early. I saw he had no one to rely on, so I raised him by my side. But this child has been going down the wrong path since he was young. Over the years, I've watched him commit one outrageous act after another. In the future, I'll have to trouble you, madam, to worry about him. In the manor, you can do whatever you want. I'll back you up. I remembered that in my previous life, the Marquis also gave me the power to manage the household. It's a pity that after the Marquis left the capital, Yuan used my pregnancy as an excuse to hand over the management of the back courtyard to Wang Wanjin. From then on, I could only live under Wang Wanjin's control, leading a miserable life. What if I killed Inghao? Yuan was taken aback, then said, that must be because he did something that angered heaven and people, which led my Yuan to have the intention to kill. If that's the case, then kill him. This Marquis will handle everything. It feels so good to be trusted unconditionally. I pursed my lips and smiled. Thank you, Marquis. I won't let Inghao and Wang Wanjin off the hook. But I won't kill Inghao myself. After all, he is the heir of the Marquis of Wuan Manor. I can't let the Marquis be pointed at by the world because of me. Unfortunately, for the return visit in 3 days, I won't be able to accompany Yuan. Speaking of returning home, I remembered the grievances between me and my maternal family in my past life, and my heart suddenly turned cold. The Marquis is busy with state affairs. Father will understand. As for the prince, be careful when you go to the border. The Marquis was highly skilled in martial arts and had many guards around him, but he died from an arrow in his past life, which made people suspect that there was an inside traitor among his close associates. If the third prince can extend his influence to our Marquis manor, he might have people in the military camp too. Marquis, you must be careful of the people around you. Yuan patted my head soothingly. I have already sent people to monitor the third prince. If he makes any moves, I will receive the news. If the third prince's influence has reached the military camp, it must have been for more than a day or 2. Marquis, you must be careful and come back alive. Yuan is waiting for you at home. Seeing how serious I was, Yuan immediately nodded. Don't worry, I will be careful. As for you, I'm really worried about leaving you alone among these wolves and tigers. I held out my little fist. Didn't the Marquis leave people for me? If anyone dares to disrespect me, I'll have them act. I'll beat them up first. Anyway, I won't suffer. Hearing this, Yuan laughed heartily. Haha, good, let's do that. A night of spring romance. Early the next morning, I, along with everyone from the manor, waited at the city gate to see the Marquis off. I even had Inghao, who was injured and in bed, brought to the city gate. As for Yun, she didn't get such good treatment. Limping along behind Inghao, outside the city gate, the Black Du family flag fluttered in the wind. 100,000 troops, with their weapons and armor, were arrayed in a single line, and the soldiers' silver armor shone dazzlingly in the sunlight. Wearing white armor and a black cloak, Yuan stood before the soldiers and raised his wine bowl. Sons, drink this farewell wine. You will follow this Marquis to expel the Tauters, and ensure the eternal prosperity of our greatly. Expel the Tauters, eternal prosperity. The neat slogans pierced the clouds, echoing in the sky over the capital city for a long time. Cheers. As the bowls hit the ground with a crisp clink, the three armies set off. The uniform marching steps, carrying a chilling aura, shook heaven and earth. I tightly clutched the handkerchief in my hand. Marquis, you must come back safely. After the crowd dispersed, I finally came to my senses and ordered, "Let's go." As soon as the words fell, a maid beside Doing-how reported, "Madam, the heir apparent says Miss Wanjin is seriously injured and wants you to send another carriage." After the maid finished speaking cautiously, she didn't forget to glance at my expression. I sneered, "The Marquis hasn't gone far, yet she can't wait. Tell the young master that Miss Wang is just a concubine in his room, and it's unreasonable to arrange a carriage from the Marquis manor. If the young master really cares, he can let her have the carriage." After speaking, I left with my people in the carriage without looking back. Doing-how really thought the Marquis was gone, so I would let him manipulate me at will. What a joke. Cui Yuan, you damned, come out, back at the manor. Before I could even sit down, I heard Doing-how shouting outside, "Madam, the young master he." Before the maid could finish, Doing-how, who had arrived, kicked her away. "He can still hit people. It seems he didn't get beaten enough yesterday." Cui Yuan, I'm asking you, why didn't you arrange a carriage for Wanjin? Putting down the teacup, I said unhurriedly, "Is the young master here to demand an explanation?" "Young master, forget it. She's your legal mother after all." Wang Wanjin's words made Doing-how even angrier. "What legal mother? She's just a who bewitched my father." Cui Yuan, my father is not here now, so I am the head of this matter. I order you to kneel and apologize to Wanjin. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and 7 or 8 burly servants rushed out from behind him. Heh, he came prepared. Such big talk. What if I don't? After hearing this, Doing-how put his hand on his waist and twisted his body, approaching a few steps closer. "Then don't blame me for being rude. Come here, tie up this for me." As soon as he said that, Wang Wanjin couldn't hide her excitement, and she reminded him, feigning concern, "Shitzi, isn't this a bit much?" Doing-how pulled Wang Wanjin into his arms and said arrogantly and domineeringly, "If I say it's okay, it's okay. In the Marquis manor, I am heaven, I am king. Whoever dares to disregard my words, I'll cripple them. What are you guys dawdling for? Hurry up and tie the person up." As soon as he said that, several servants approached me with ropes. Seeing this, I calmly said, "Shitzi, are you sure you want to do this? Dying, why are you still pretending?" Doing-how spat. "Do you know why I ran away from the grand wedding on my wedding day? Because I just can't stand your pretentious, fawning bitcha look." As he spoke, he hooked Wang Wanjin's chin and kissed her forcefully. "My Wanjin is so knowing and interesting, so much better than this walking dead. Come on, all of you come on. Today I'm going to teach this a good lesson." Wang Wanjin blushed shyly and hid in Doing-how's arms, giving me a provocative look. Seeing that I seemed to be stunned and sitting there as if scared, Doing-how said with a smug smile, "Today I'll let you taste my methods." Before the words even fell, the servant who was approaching me was kicked flying, hitting Doing-how directly. Ouch! Doing-how let out a pig-like scream. Chapter 4. Returning home meets obstacles. Fists decide. Things happened too fast. By the time everyone came to their senses, the group of servants were already lying all over the ground. Several men in black knelt in a line before me. The leader clasped his fists and said, "Du-san of the Du family army, with his brothers, pays his respects to madam. You've all worked hard, please rise." Du-san stood by my side with his men, his eyes like knives. Ouch, my back. Hurry and move this dog thing off me. Young master, are you okay? Are you all blind? Hurry and come help. No matter how much Wang Wanjin yelled and screamed, none of the maids and servants who hadn't fallen dared to move. The Marquis manor had changed. Only Doing-how still couldn't understand. "You dare to hurt my people. You wait. I'm not done with you." I got up and walked to his side. He cowered in fear and said fiercely but weakly, "What are you doing? What do you want?" I stepped on his finger and crushed it with force. Listening to his screams, a sense of pleasure rose in my heart. In my past life, I knelt in the snow with my child, waiting for 3 days and 3 nights. I didn't wait for a doctor, but Doing-how came instead. Trembling, I lifted the quilt, revealing the child's blue and purple little face. "Is young master here to see the child?" He glanced disdainfully at the child in my arms. "Long since cold. Is it dead? If it is, bury it quickly." What a jinx. I stared at the son of a bitch before me, like a madwoman, wishing I could flay him and eat his flesh. "He's your child, your own flesh and blood. Young master, how could you be so heartless?" Bang! Doing-how kicked me flying. "What the hell are you, to dare to lecture me? Child, my child, I crawled towards the child, crying and struggling, but Doing How stomped on me. Doing How crushed my fingers back and forth. The nails, already numb from the cold, were soon crushed off, revealing bloody flesh. I let out a terrible wail. The child is dead. How dare you still be alive? Die. Go to hell. When I woke up again, the child had already been ordered by Doing How to be burned to ashes. Recalling the past, I harbored a killing intent. Chui Yuan, I am the young master of the Marquis's mansion. If you treat me like this, when my father returns, he definitely won't spare you. Doing How's words did remind me, killing him would be insignificant, but I couldn't let the Marquis be criticized by the world because of me, intending to harm the mistress. What crime is that? Du-san cupped his hands and said, harming the mistress is no longer a family matter. Please report it to the authorities. Madam, who do you think you are? What right do you have to speak here? Doing How cursed angrily, reporting to the young master. Your subordinate belongs to the Du family army, and holds the rank of vice-general. Second rank. Hearing this, Doing How's face changed. A second rank deputy general, placing such a talent by my side for protection. The Marquis is thoughtful. Du family army. Father actually handed the Du family army to you. Chui Yuan, what did you whisper in my father's ear? Still not understanding the situation when facing death. In my past life I was actually harmed to death by such an idiot. I really looked down on myself a bit. Attempting to murder the legitimate mother. At the very least you'll be in prison for a while. Facing death. You should worry more about yourself. Hearing that I was serious, Doing How panicked. I am the heir of the Marquis Manor. Chui Yuan, if you dare do this, you'll be disgracing the Marquis Manor. I'll see how you face father. I sneered. Are you threatening me? Du-san, go invite the prefect of Jingzhou. Seeing that I was serious, Doing How was completely stunned. His background was not high to begin with, and all these honors now were bestowed by the Marquis Manor. If he were to be imprisoned, it would be openly telling everyone that he had become an abandoned son of the Marquis Manor, and then both his future and power would be gone. Perhaps realizing this, he no longer cared about his injuries, forcefully pushed the corpse off himself, and with a splash, knelt directly before me. Mother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I was instigated by someone. Saying this, Doing How looked around and directly pulled Wang Wanjin out. It was Wang Wanjin who told me that father was gone, and that the Marquis Manor would be run by me, so I impulsively went to trouble mother. I won't dare to do it again. Please mother, be merciful and spare me this time. Wang Wanjin never expected Doing How to be so shameless as to push her out to take the blame. Her face immediately turned pale. No, it wasn't this servant. As soon as she finished speaking, Doing How slapped her hard across the face. You dare to argue? Hurry up and apologize to mother. Young master. Wang Wanjin couldn't believe it. Covering her red and swollen face, she stood there dumbfounded. A few days ago he publicly eloped for her, and today he's hitting her. So-called deep affection is nothing compared to personal gain. I always thought Doing How was only ruthless to me, but I didn't realize he was ruthless to everyone except himself. If one day, Doing How finds out that Wang Wanjin is from the third prince, and her purpose in coming to his side is to annihilate the Marquis Manor, I wonder what choice he will make then. Aren't you going to kneel and apologize to mother? Hearing Doing How's angry roar, Wang Wanjin shivered and knelt down hesitantly. Madam, all the mistakes are my fault. Please madam not to blame the young master. Seeing this, Doing How said shamelessly, Mother, we were really wrong. Please calm down and let us off this time. Hit. After the order, wails echoed throughout the garden. The maids and servants of the Marquis's mansion were either beaten or sold off. After this major reshuffle, the Marquis's mansion is completely under my control. Doing How and Wang Wanjin were beaten with planks again, adding injury to injury. It's unlikely they'll be able to get out of bed for at least 10 days, to half a month of recuperation. After this incident, Doing How not only didn't lay a finger on me, but he also let me completely clear out his people. Even better, after today's events, the two of them are bound to develop friction, trying to steal a chicken only to lose the rice used to feed the chickens. That's him. Right. Today was supposed to be the day for returning to my maiden home, but due to this delay, it's already a bit late. After dealing with the affairs of the mansion, I took the things prepared by the steward and got into the carriage to head to the Chui mansion. When I arrived, the gates of the Chui mansion were tightly shut, with not a soul in sight at the entrance. Seeing this, Du-san frowned and said, Madam, shall this subordinate inform them first? Staring at the two big characters, Chui mansion on the gate, even the dazzling sun couldn't drive away the coldness in my heart. In my past life, I begged for help from the mansion countless times, but each time my father refused any rescue, saying that a daughter who has been married off is like spilled water. Cui Jingrong, this married off daughter has returned with a generous gift, a gift substantial enough to make you bend the knee in hospitality. No need, just knock on the door. Du San stepped forward and knocked on the door. After a long while, there was still no response from anyone. It was already noon, and the wife of the dignified Marquis Wuan couldn't even get into her own family's door on her wedding return visit. What a joke. Du San, open the door. Du San, who had been impatiently waiting, leaped directly into the courtyard. A moment later, a fight could be heard from inside the courtyard, and the gate was opened from within. Ignoring the servants sprawled all over the ground, I stepped into the courtyard. As soon as I reached the inner courtyard, I was stopped by two attendants by my father's side. Madame Du, please return. My master is unwell today and does not wish to see guests. Heh, after more than a decade of father-daughter affection, I'm now considered a guest. I had some lingering hope for Cui Jingrong, but since it's like this, don't blame me for disregarding our father-daughter relationship. I sneered. How dare a mere servant try to stop the wife of Marquis Wuan? What audacity. Du San, teach him some manners. Du San behind me didn't waste any words. With a hand in each direction, the sound of slaps quickly echoed. Hearing the commotion, Cui Jingrong came out of his room, accompanied by Madame Yang and her daughter. Cui Yuan, how dare you barge into the Cui manor? Is there no law? The one speaking was my half-sister, Cui Yurong. Chapter 5. A grand gift for the selfish villains of the Cui family. In my past life, after my child fell ill, I repeatedly sought help from home, but all the letters sent went unanswered. Finally, a wet nurse from the manor, unable to bear it any longer, intercepted Cui Yurong midway and invited her to the Marquis manor. Just when I thought my child was finally saved, she poured a bucket of cold water on me. Cui Yuan, you don't really think I came to save you, do you? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Father said a married daughter is like spilled water. He wants you to apologize properly to the heir. Once the heir calms down, it will be fine. I pleaded. Good sister, I will apologize to the heir. Can you please get a doctor first? The child is very ill. If he doesn't get treatment, he will die. Cui Yurong threw my hand away and looked at me with disdain. Heir's wife, you have this day too. Back then, when you were flourishing in the Cui family, I asked you for some silver to buy some accessories, but you kept making excuses. Now you want me to get a doctor for your child. Kneel down and beg me. Hearing this, I said with great grief, Cui Yurong, I never treated you badly in the past. Back then, my mother took a liking to Cui Jingrong, a poor young man who had come to the capital city to take the imperial examinations, and insisted on marrying him. Helplessly, my maternal grandfather had to marry my mother to my father, with a grand ceremony of 10 miles of red makeup and 100 loads of dowry. After my mother became pregnant with me, my father secretly brought his lover from the countryside into the capital city and settled her outside. Unwilling to be kept outside forever, Madame Yang sneaked into the delivery room during my mother's labor. Stimulated by her, my mother hemorrhaged and died of postpartum hemorrhage after giving birth to me. After my mother's death, Madame Yang was brought into the manor and soon gave birth to Cui Yurong. When she was young, Cui Yurong also toddled behind me, calling me sister. I also generously gave away all the hair ornaments and jewelry left by my mother. As my father became increasingly frustrated in his official career, the Cui manor's days grew harder, and it was only by relying on my mother's dowry that we managed to avoid becoming a laughingstock to outsiders. Madame Yang was stingy to the point of being miserly with the manor's expenses for food and drink. Influenced by Madame Yang, Cui Yurong gradually became shallow-eyed and greedy for profit. She even incited my father to snatch away the few shops left by my mother from me with various excuses, ultimately resulting in me not even being able to gather 20 dawn of dowry when I got married. Even with all this, Cui Yurong still came to demand things every few days. Yurong, haven't I given you enough over the years? Now even my dowry is meager. Please leave some way out for me and my child. A way out? Humph. If your child dies, then it won't be needed, will it? You shut up, shut up. Hearing her curse my child, I went mad and beat her, and Cui Yurong finally left in a sorry state. The Cui family, just a bunch of greedy little people. Ignoring her accusations, I tidied my clothes and said, Yuran pays her respects to father. Today is Yuran's third day back home, but I didn't expect those blind fools in the manor to simply shut the door. It doesn't matter if Yuran is snubbed, but this will surely make everyone in the capital city mock our Cui family for not knowing manners. If these things reach the censor's ears, and they impeach father for lax family governance. Wouldn't father be wronged? Seeing this, Cui Yurong said with cold brows and an angry expression, Cui Yuran, who are you trying to scare? The mansion gates were ordered closed by father precisely to prevent you, this disgrace, from returning. Yurong, how dare you? Before Cui Yurong could finish speaking, she was interrupted by Cui Jingrong. He flicked his sleeves and snorted coldly, all of you, come inside. What's with all this shouting and commotion in the courtyard? Cui Yurong stomped her foot and huffily entered the room. Since you're back, tell me what exactly happened. On the wedding night, Cui Jingrong had already sent people to gather information. It was I who refused to see him, and that's why the Marquis sent the person away directly. I lowered my stance and personally poured him tea, then brought it to him, saying, on the wedding day, the heir fled the marriage with a prostitute he redeemed from a brothel. I presume father has also heard about this. He disregarded our Cui family's reputation. The Marquis felt guilty upon seeing this and said that the Du family's sons were mine to choose. I was furious at the time, which is why I chose the Marquis. Father, I am already married to the Marquis. Whatever mistakes were made, they are all my fault, but I implore father to forgive his daughter. Considering the Marquis' service fighting for the country, seeing that Cui Jingrong's anger had subsided a bit, Madame Yang, who was beside him, spoke. If people didn't know, they'd think the eldest daughter suffered some terrible injustice. What a shame, though. Rumors are flying everywhere about the Du family's father-in-law becoming husband. Oh dear, eldest daughter, you don't know, but my old face is too ashamed to even show itself. Hearing this, my eyes welled up with tears. Back then, if I hadn't made a choice, I would have been sent back. If I had insisted on waiting for doing how to return, I might have been suppressed by that prostitute. In either case, it would have been the Cui family's reputation that was tarnished. I had no other choice but to resort to this desperate measure. Fortunately, the Marquis trusted me deeply. Not only did he teach doing how a lesson, but he also handed over the entire Marquis manor to me. Upon hearing this news, Cui Jingrong glanced at me and asked, so, you're in charge of the Marquis manor now? I nodded. The Cui family may appear to be prosperous, but in reality, they are already rotten to the core. Mother's dowry has also been squandered, and the family is already out of money to maintain appearances. Marrying me into the Marquis manor was originally intended to latch onto the Marquis manor's high status. Now that I have become the mistress of the Marquis manor, everything in the Marquis manor is up to me. No matter how upset Cui Jingrong might be about appearances, he has to consider it carefully. My child, your father isn't blaming you. Alright, you're all grown up. What's with all this crying and whimpering? Seeing Cui Jingrong forgive me so quickly, Cui Yurong said angrily, Father, she has completely disgraced our Cui family. You said you would punish her, so why did you just let it go? Shut up. Cui Jingrong was furious. How dare you be so disrespectful? Today, I'll punish you by sending you to the ancestral hall to reflect. You're not allowed out without my order. Father is so biased. Cui Yurong covered her face and ran out crying pitifully. Seeing this, Madame Yang wanted to follow her out, but seeing me sitting there so calmly, she stopped. Her eyes darted around and she said sarcastically, the eldest miss is quite glorious now. When will you remember your maternal family? After all, our Cui family nowadays can barely put food on the table. Seeing her bringing up the past, Cui Jingrong felt embarrassed and coldly snorted, you shut up too. Upon hearing this, Madame Yang became hysterical. Master, I'm just telling the truth. It's true. Relying on your salary, we'll starve to death sooner or later. Hearing this, I showed a surprised expression at the right time. Father, is what mother says true? Cui Jingrong's face was unpleasant, and he tried to explain. Don't listen to your mother's nonsense. As long as I'm here, the Cui mansion will not fall. Humph. Still trying to save face at this point. Today, on my return visit, your daughter wanted to give father a land deed, but seeing the family surrounded by splendor, I suppose father doesn't need it. After speaking, I slowly took a sip of tea, wanting to see how long he could endure. Seeing how generous I was as soon as I made a move, Mrs. Yang's eyes went wide. Oh my, as I said, only the eldest young lady has the ability. Not only did she coax the Marquis around and get the household management rights, but she's also so generous with her moves. My lord, we have hope for the future. My lord, Mrs. Yang shook Cui Jingrong's arm. Chapter 6 Spreading Rumors and Killing with a Borrowed Knife. Seeing this, Cui Jingrong put on an act and grunted, Yuran is indeed capable, but remember that this prosperity is given by the Marquis. In the future, serve the Marquis well in your husband's family, have children as soon as possible. And as for this land deed, since you got it back, your father will keep it for you for now. Yes, thank you for your concern, father. As I spoke, I took the box from Dusan, took out a land deed inside, and handed it over. This is property outside the southern suburbs of the city. Yuran is gifting it to father today, hoping father can take mother for a relaxing outing in his leisure time. Holding the land deed as if holding a goose that lays golden eggs, Cui Jingrong's face bloomed with a smile. Good, good, my child is so filial, but for such a big matter, don't you need to discuss it with the Marquis? Cui Jingrong was afraid that the treasure he had obtained would be taken back by someone else. Please rest assured, Lord Cui, the Du family has a total of 72 pieces of land and 101 properties with deeds. The Marquis has entrusted all of them to Madame to manage. The Marquis also instructed that not only the entire Marquis manor belongs to the Madame, but even we, the Du family army, will obey the Madame's command. Du family army. Hearing Dusan's words, Cui Jingrong's eyes lit up, and he excitedly said, good, 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 my daughter is truly successful. Ha ha ha, thank you, Marquis, for your care towards my little daughter. Rest assured, with our Cui family here, we will definitely help the Marquis guard the family business. Did the Marquis entrust these things to me, making them the private property of the Cui family? How ridiculous. I waved Dusan away and then said, Father, you can rest assured now. Rest assured, my daughter made the right choice. Marrying the crown prince would at most make her the crown prince's wife, but marrying the Marquis and managing the entire Marquis manor, it's my daughter who has good judgment. Thank you, father, for your praise. I sneered. Father, you better accept this grand gift properly. In my past life, after the Marquis died, Wang Wanjin once boasted to me that the third prince had already amassed thousands of troops in the southern suburbs of the city, waiting for the order to attack the imperial palace and ascend the throne. Unfortunately, not long after Wang Wanjin died, I followed suit. I never got to see if the third prince's rebellion was successful. However, since his troops are in the south of the city, there will surely be clues. Given Cui Jingrong's personality, he'll definitely show off the moment he gets the deed. If he accidentally stumbles upon the third prince's secret, I wonder if there's any chance of him surviving. The lunch was enjoyable for both host and guests. After lunch, I declined their invitation to stay, citing that the Marquis manor couldn't be left without someone in charge, and left with Dusan. Madam, are we going back? Dusan's voice came from outside the carriage. To Yinghuan Tower. Yinghuan Tower is the best restaurant in all of Chang'an. Unfortunately, very few people know that the mastermind behind this establishment is the second prince. The second prince is the son of the imperial consort, and his personality is rash and combative. Currently in court, the eldest prince is crippled and has no chance of ascending the throne, so the calls to make him the crown prince are the loudest. If he knew that the third prince, whom he always looked down upon, was constantly plotting behind his back, who knows what would happen. It was already past noon, and Yinghuan Tower was still full of guests. The business was exceptionally good. Seeing guests arrive, a clever waiter came forward. Are you two guests sitting in a private room upstairs or in the main hall downstairs? Dusan threw a chunk of silver, a private room, and arrange some of your specialty dishes. Got it. Please come in, honored guests. After being seated, I took off my veil and asked Dusan, how is the news spreading? Madam, don't worry. Half the capital city knows that the third prince was the mastermind behind the Qinghe case back then. At this rate, even if the second prince doesn't want to know, he can't help it. I tapped the table and nodded. Thank you for your hard work. A year ago, a case that shocked the entire country occurred in Shandong. A wealthy merchant spent a huge sum of money to buy the green seedlings in the local people's fields, at a price more than double that of wheat at the time. Someone went to try it and it actually sold. Seeing that it was real, many people rushed over. Later, more people sold it, and wealthy merchants began to lower prices. Even so, there were still quite a few people selling, which eventually led to a large area of green seedlings being harvested. In Shandong, when the people who got the silver started buying grain, they discovered that the price of grain had quietly risen. The grain price hike caused the common people to scramble for it, leading to a surge in grain prices. By the end, the grain prices had tripled or quadrupled. The people sadly realized that the money they got from selling the green seedlings could buy very little grain, not even enough to get through the winter. That winter was exceptionally cold, and countless lives were cut short in winter, failing to see the next spring. The third prince sent people to spread rumors that a member of the royal family was the mastermind behind this incident. As soon as the news broke, it caused a large-scale rebellion among the people in Shandong and other areas. The imperial court sent people to suppress the rebellion, while simultaneously launching a thorough investigation. The investigation eventually implicated the noble consort's family. His Majesty was furious and directly exiled all of the noble consort's family members. It is said that at the time, the noble consort and the second prince knelt before the imperial study for 3 days and 3 nights, but could not get His Majesty to retract his order. Without the support of her maternal clan, the second prince's faction suffered a severe blow. The second prince never stopped investigating the mastermind of the case from that year, but he was always without leads. I am quite willing to help him. In this life, the third prince wants to sit firmly on the fishing platform, to be a beneficiary behind the scenes, but I want to pull him into the game. I want to make him the target of public criticism, to expose his ambition in full view of everyone. The more enemies he has, the safer the Marquis and I will be. This great gift, which concerns the lives of the entire clan of the imperial concubine, the second prince will surely accept. Send people to continue to keep an eye on the third prince's mansion, and report any movement immediately. Yes, madam. As soon as Dusan finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. When I opened the door, a strange young page appeared. The page bowed to me. Madam, my master has invited you. Dusan asked vigilantly. Who is your master? The page looked past him at me. Madam will know when she goes. I frowned and said, what if I don't go? My master said that if madam does not go, then those people who left the Marquis Manor yesterday morning will be sent to the third prince's mansion in an instant. The people who left the manor yesterday morning were the ones I sent out to spread rumors. Who is the master of this page? I broke out in a cold sweat. Could he have been watching me in secret all along? Madam, Dusan gestured with his eyes, asking if he should apprehend the person. I shook my head. The enemy is in the dark and I am in the light. I cannot act rashly. I gestured with my eyes for him to act according to the situation, and I got up and said, lead the way. Crossing the small door, I went all the way around to the backyard and entered a private room. A large screen was placed in the room, dividing the entire room into 2. Behind the screen, figures flickered, and a man said, Madam is here. I sneered, playing spooky. Your Excellency invited me, and you don't even dare to show your true face. A burst of laughter came from behind the screen. Madam really has a big temper. The screen was pulled open. Dusan's hand moved to the hilt of his sword, and he cautiously blocked me in front of me. Seeing the person who came out, I was stunned. Chapter 7 Sowing Discord. The willing take the bait. The man who turned out from behind the screen was handsome and noble, dressed in white as snow, sitting in a wheelchair. It was the first prince, Prince Gong. Seeing him, I quickly knelt and said, this concubine spoke inappropriately. I beg the prince to forgive my sins. Madam do. No need for such formalities. Please rise. I got up, uneasy and flustered, not knowing what the first prince intended. In my previous life, I didn't know much about the first prince either, only that his legs were injured when he fell off a cliff during a winter hunt, and he never stood up again, with his legs disabled. The first prince had no chance in the struggle for the throne. He was enfeoffed as a prince and established his own household early on. However, all this was just rumors outside. The truth was unknown to outsiders. Madam do. There's no need to be alarmed. I've asked Madam to come because I have an important matter to ask. For your help. Ask me. In the imperial family, let alone people, even dogs have clever minds. Being sought out by the first prince. I don't know if it's good fortune or disaster. Your Highness flatters this concubine. Please feel free to command me in anything. This concubine cannot bear the word. Ask. My words obviously pleased him, and the first prince chuckled approvingly. The eldest daughter of the Chui family changed grooms at the last minute, on her wedding day, and the world is watching as a joke. However, in my opinion, the madam remained calm in the face of danger, had a clear goal, and her mind and methods were all top-notch. After marrying the Marquis, she quickly took control of the entire Marquis Manor. The madam is indeed the smartest one. Investigating my affairs so clearly shows that you came prepared. I lowered my eyelids and said, neither pleased nor displeased. Your Highness flatters me. I was merely forced at the time. A fine, forced. I see it as a step-by-step strategy. For instance, the rumors about the Xianxia case. My heart leaped in alarm, just as I thought. The first prince had people monitoring the Marquis Manor. What exactly does he want? I forced a smile. I wonder what your Highness wants from this concubine. Pushing the wheelchair, the first prince approached me and whispered, Madam need not panic. I will not interfere with the grudges between you and my third brother. In fact, I will even lend you a hand at critical moments. With such a high promise, his intentions must be significant. My hands were sweating with shock. Stabilizing myself, I said, "What exactly does your highness want?" "Madam, don't be nervous. I merely hope that when I am in trouble one day, Madam will lend me the Du family army." Despite all my calculations, I never expected the first prince to make such a request. But what trouble could a prince possibly face? My gaze fell on his limp legs, and I felt that he wasn't speaking without reason. When the Marquis left, he left 50 of the Du family soldiers with me. These men are all top-notch fighters, capable of taking on an army. To avoid suspicion, I only kept Du-san and a few others, scattering the rest. I didn't expect someone to still be after them. The first prince isn't borrowing the Du family's soldiers. He's clearly trying to tie the entire Wuan Marquis estate to his own fate. This matter is of great importance, and I must be cautious. I opened my mouth and said, "What if I refuse to lend them?" "Madam, don't refuse so quickly. Perhaps one day, you yourself will personally hand over the Du family soldiers to me." Seeing how confident he was, I might as well ask directly, "May I know what your highness is referring to?" The heaven's secrets cannot be revealed, and I beg your pardon for not being able to tell you. However, please rest assured, madam, that borrowing the Du family soldiers is for the sake of the nation and righteousness. We will not rashly sacrifice lives for personal reasons. Seeing that he refused to tell the truth, I had no choice but to drop the matter. "Thank you, your highness, for telling me truthfully. However, lending these soldiers is a matter of great importance, and it's not something I can decide. The Marquis is currently fighting on the frontier, and I presume your highness wouldn't want to disturb him with such a trivial matter." Seeing that I brought up the Marquis, the first prince wasn't angered. "Madam speaks truly. It is I who was too hasty. Your highness, please stay. This concubine will take her leave." As I walked out of the private room, a chill ran down my spine. I didn't realize I had become a piece of fat meat in someone else's eyes. "Madam, shall I send people to monitor Prince Gong's mansion?" I shook my head. It seemed the first prince was just testing the waters today, and had no ill intentions. Monitoring them would be counterproductive. For now, I can only take it one step at a time. Putting these thoughts aside, I took Du-san to the 100 Flowers Pavilion. As soon as we got downstairs, we were stopped by the doorman. "This is a place that entertains men, not a place for noble ladies like you to tread." I casually tossed out a gold ingot and said coldly, "Have your manager come out to see me?" The doorman, holding the gold, grinned from ear to ear and invited me into a room, bowing and scraping, saying, "Please wait a moment, madam, soon." A madam dressed in red and green came out. Before she even arrived, a strong, pungent scent of rouge hit me from afar. Oh my, I was wondering why the magpies were chirping today. Turns out we have a distinguished guest. "May I ask what pleasure madam is seeking at our 100 Flowers Pavilion?" I covered my nose and frowned. "I want to buy 2 girls who have been well trained by you. Money is not an issue." "Ah." The madam was surprised by my request. After a moment of stunned silence, she put on a smile and said hurriedly, "Oh my, madam, you've come at the perfect time. The girls here are all as delicate as jade, and their skills in serving people are top-notch." "Less nonsense. Hurry up and call them." "Oh dear, yes, soon." 7 or 8 scantily clad women appeared before me. I glanced, leaving 2 women with exceptionally enchanting looks. Seeing I had chosen, the old madam clapped her hands and said exaggeratedly, "As expected, madam has good taste. These 2 are the top girls in my establishment. Ever since they arrived, I've treated them like my own daughters, giving them the best food, clothing, and everything else." "Less nonsense. How much silver?" The madam hesitated, holding out one finger. 100 taels each. I threw out 2 silver notes. "Bring the indentures." The old madam didn't expect me to be so straightforward. A look of painful suffering as if she'd suffered a great loss appeared on her face. Gritting her teeth, she said, "Madam, please wait a moment. I'll go get them right away." After getting the indentures and leading the 2 girls, I went straight back. Upon arriving at the manor, I had the steward send them to the young lord. "Madam says the young lord is injured and not feeling well, and it's not enough to have only Miss Wang by his side. She's asked this servant to send 2 maids for the young lord's use." Seeing me send people, Doing Hao thought I was backing down and shouted, "Is Cui Yuran apologizing to me? Where's that arrogant look she had when she hit me? I don't want these people." Upon hearing this, the 2 women cried their eyes out. "My lord, if you don't keep us, madam will kick us out of the manor." "My lord, please keep us." The two women stepped forward, rubbing and caressing him. After a series of moves, Doinghao had already softened. All right, keep them all. After picking up the person, Doinghao became even more smug. Go back and tell Cui Yuran that this young lord forgives her this time. If she hits someone again next time, I will definitely make her regret it when father returns. Dismissing the steward, I sneered. Idiot. Half a month later, when Doinghao's injuries had mostly healed, news spread that Wang Wanjin had been beaten. Soon, Wang Wanjin stopped me on the way. When I saw her, I almost didn't recognize her at first glance. Wang Wanjin's face was covered in scars and her clothes were tattered, and she limped as she walked. Not smoothly. In just half a month, why did she look like she had aged over 10 years? Seeing me, Wang Wanjin knelt and kowtowed. Please, madam, save this servant. This servant really doesn't want to die. The young lord is instigated by his two younger sisters, and beats this servant daily. Please, madam, save me. If this continues, this servant will die. When the two women entered the mansion, I only gave one instruction, to have the young lord get rid of the Miss Wang beside him. I didn't expect it to work so quickly. I've seen Doinghao's methods. If he wants to torture you, he has plenty of ways. It seems Wang Wanjin has suffered a lot during this time, to the point of remembering me, her madam. Truly interesting. Chapter 8. The Missing Young Lord. Cui family awaiting rescue. Although this madam manages the entire marquis manor, you are still someone in the crown prince's chambers, and there are some things this madam finds inconvenient to interfere with. Besides, you are now just a concubine in the crown prince's room. If a maid dies, she dies. Lives are not valuable. Hearing this, Wang Wanjin's eyes filled with hatred. Madam, you let me enter the manor under the guise of a concubine back then. Did you foresee this day? How dare you speak to madam like that? I raised my hand to stop Dusan, a smile on my lips. This madam isn't a fortune teller. How could I know what would happen later? I can only say that the crown prince is not a good man. When you instigated him to elope back then, you should have thought of this. Your servant knows that my elopement with the crown prince is madam's sore spot. That's why you sent those two cheap hoes into the manor to torment your servant. Wang Wanjin cried out hoarsely. Does madam want the servant to die? Whether you believe it or not, this madam has always hoped that you and the crown prince could live longer, long enough to torment each other to death. When I said this, Wang Wanjin's face instantly turned ashen, and she muttered, Is it my fault? No, things aren't like this. A strange feeling arose in my heart. Could it be that Wang Wanjin had also been reborn? I immediately pressed on. If it's not like this, then what is it like? Servant. Wang Wanjin's lips quivered, but before she could speak, she was interrupted by the arrival of Doinghao. I knew you weren't going to behave yourself and were planning to complain to mother. Who gave you the guts? As he spoke, he grabbed Wang Wanjin's hair and dragged her outside. When we get back, I'm going to beat you to death. You bitch. Wang Wanjin clutched her scalp and screamed. You can't touch me. If you kill me, you won't get away with it either. Still got the nerve to talk back. The sound of slaps echoed, and Wang Wanjin quickly fell silent. After hearing that Wang Wanjin was caught and brought back, Doinghao beat her soundly, breaking her legs. The next morning, the guards found that she had died. Hearing the news of her death, I was a bit surprised. The show had just begun. How could she already be dead? I can only say that Doinghao's blows were too heavy. Mother, save me. I didn't mean to beat her to death. I didn't know she was so frail. I just messed with her a couple of times and she died. Mother, you have to save me. Early in the morning, Doinghao ran into the courtyard to beg for help. I put down my teacup and said slowly, Wasn't Wang Wanjin of good status? Don't you have her deed of sale? Doinghao nodded frantically. The madam at the time said she was of good status and only sold her talent, not herself. I bought her but forgot about the deed of sale. Now that she's dead, I'm sure to be implicated. Mother, what should I do? Beating Liangji to death will get you jailed. Doinghao was pacing anxiously. Mother, I don't want to go to jail. Please save me. Mother, I sneered. Why does the heir apparent think I would save you? Doinghao was stunned. He quickly recovered and cursed. Cui Yuran, you did it on purpose, didn't you? It was you vicious woman, who deliberately had two women blowing in my ear constantly, and deliberately made me accidentally kill someone. Not too stupid, after all. So what if I did? Do you have proof? On the contrary, heir apparent, you are the one who beat someone to death, and the evidence is conclusive. Just then, the butler came to report. Madam, Lord Yang from the Jingzhou prefecture is here. He came quite quickly. I glanced at Doinghao with an amused look. Doinghao, No one can save you this time. Cui Yuan, may you die a terrible death. Doing Hao, who tried to escape, was quickly apprehended by the officers. I instructed Lord Yang to handle the case impartially. I wanted Doing Hao to lose a layer of skin, if not his life. Unexpectedly, within a few days, news came from the Jingzhou prefecture that Doing Hao had been rescued. What happened? Lord Yang said fearfully. It was someone from the third prince's matter who redeemed the person, by sending over Miss Wang's indenture. Du San whispered in my ear, Madam, the brothers said they didn't see the heir apparent at the third prince's matter. Doing Hao didn't go to the third prince's matter. Where did he go after all? Search the entire city, alive or dead. Yes, more than 10 days have passed, and the people Du San sent out have searched the entire capital city, but they haven't found any trace of Doing Hao. The person actually disappeared into thin air. Send a letter to the Marquis. I'm uneasy not finding Doing Hao. I always feel like something big is about to happen. A few days later, the housekeeper rushed to report, Madam, something terrible has happened. The in-law's family has been kidnapped by bandits. I was surprised. When did this happen? Just now. I heard that the in-law's family was kidnapped on their way back from the southern suburbs. Upon hearing that they were kidnapped from the southern suburbs, I calmed down. The southern suburbs are where the third prince ambushed his men. He must have been seen by my father, which led to his death. First Doing Hao, then my father's family. The third prince is clearly targeting the Marquis's mansion. It's a pity he miscalculated. I don't care about the lives of these people at all. Since the rumors about the Xianxia case spread throughout the capital city last time, the third prince's men were heavily hit by the second prince's attacks. The third prince has also come out from the shadows into the open, fighting with the second prince for the throne. The first prince also played a part in fanning the flames. Thinking of the people exposed in the southern suburbs of the city today, I have a hunch that the capital city is about to change. Recalling what the first prince said about impending trouble, could this be what he meant? Quick, summon the Du family army to await orders in the mansion. Yes, Du San quickly took the order, and soon, the Du family army that swarmed out surrounded the Marquis Wuan's manor as tightly as an iron bucket. I waited until the lamps were lit, staring wide-eyed, not daring to relax my vigilance at all. In this life, Wang Wanjin died an untimely death, and did not complete the third prince's mission. And the Marquis is also fine at the border right now. Could it be that the third prince is really going to rebel? No matter what, I must protect this family well for the Marquis. Madam, someone outside has delivered a letter. Taking the letter handed over by Du San, I opened it and found it was Cui Jingrong's letter asking for help. Who saw it when the letter was delivered? The person who delivered the letter shouted that it was a ransom note from bandits. It was too late for the brothers to stop them, and many people outside heard it. The third prince really has some skills. If I don't go to save them today, I will surely be accused of great unfilial piety. If I go, I will fall into his trap. My death is nothing, but if he uses me to threaten the Marquis, wouldn't I be a sinner for all eternity? Madam, what should we do? Du San beside me waited for my order. I took a deep breath, recalling what the eldest prince said that day about me handing over the Du family army with my own hands. I sneered repeatedly. As expected, everyone in the royal family is not simple. You send someone to deliver a letter to the eldest prince at top speed, saying to meet at Shipo 10 miles outside the city. Also, gather your men and set off immediately. Yes, Du San left. I changed into my short shirt, got ready, and led my men on horseback towards the outskirts of the city. We rode fast, and soon arrived at Shirley Slope, where an inconspicuous carriage was parked alone. As soon as I got into the carriage, I saw a girl with a similar build to mine waiting for a long time. This servant, Zidai, pays her respects to Madam. Where is the prince? Chapter 9. Loyal servant dies. Ragefully storms the imperial palace. The prince asked this servant to relay that once Madam sees this servant, everything will be clear. Seeing that Zidai was neither servile nor overbearing, and clearly not an ordinary maid, I looked around and asked, do you know martial arts? Yes. This servant has been practicing martial arts for over 10 years, and ordinary people can't get close to me. The prince has truly given me a great gift. A short while later, Zidai, wearing my clothes, got out of the carriage, and I rode back the way I came. As soon as I entered the city, I noticed something was wrong. The pedestrians on the street were hurrying, and from time to time people were shouting that someone had died. Du San, who had gone to scout, reported, Madam, this is bad. There's a riot in the city. We should return to the outskirts and hide. As soon as Du San finished speaking, a killing cry also erupted from the city gate. It's too late. Let's go back to the Marquis Manor. The carriage was too conspicuous, so I abandoned it and, with Dusan, took a shortcut towards the Marquis Manor. Halfway there, I saw firelight soaring in the distance. The place that was on fire was precisely the Marquis Manor. Dusan's face changed. Madam, I licked my dry lips. Fire the signal arrow. Yes. I hope the Du family army left in the mansion is safe and sound. A signal arrow shot up into the sky, illuminating the nearby sky in an instant. Madam, it's not safe here anymore. Let this humble general escort you to a safe place. After I gather the brothers, I will reunite with you. I shook my head, whether in past life or this life. Marquis Wuan's mansion has always been a target for the third prince's power struggle. If the third prince gains power in this life, the Marquis and I will be in danger. Today's riot in the capital city, whether he instigated it or not, the third prince must die. I want to lead the Du family army to help the first prince, and eliminate the third prince. Madam, they're here. As soon as Dusan finished speaking, the sound of horse hooves passed by, and his expression immediately became alert. Madam, be careful, they are not our people. No need for his reminder. The approaching people have already rushed in front of us. The approaching person was Yu Xiaodong, the leader of the Imperial Guards, whom I had met a few times. Seeing me, he sneered. As I said, Madam really didn't go to save people. He dismounted and flexed his fingers. Madam, just come with me obediently. Don't force me to do anything. The leader of the Imperial Guards was actually the third prince's man. My heart leaped into my throat. I only have Dusan here, and Yu Xiaodong has more than a dozen people behind him. We are no match for them in a fight. Our only hope now is that the other Du family soldiers will rush over quickly after hearing the signal. Who is your master? Madam, you ask what you already know. I continued to play dumb. I really don't know. You want to take me away. At least tell me who your master is. Is Madame Du stalling for time? Before Yu Xiaodong could finish speaking, Dusan suddenly attacked, slashing his knife fiercely at him. Seeing this, I raised my hand and shot a sleeve dart. Yu Xiaodong reacted quickly, dodged Dusan's saber with a swift somersault, but was hit in the arm by the sleeve dart. He grunted, reached up to pull the arrow from his arm, and threw it fiercely to the ground, saying with a fierce look, "Attack." Instantly, Dusan and I were surrounded. I don't know martial arts, and Dusan had to protect me while also guarding against our attackers, so he was quickly wounded. Yu Xiaodong smirked when he saw this. Brothers, go easy on them. Your master instructed that Madame Du is to be captured alive. Dusan wielded his saber in a dense, impenetrable defense, keeping me tightly behind him. I'll carve out an opening in a moment. Madam, hurry and run. My palms were sweating with nervousness. I knew this wasn't the time to be sentimental, so I nodded. Okay, attack. Dusan let out a fierce roar, pushing back several attackers. He then spun his saber and slashed at the person behind him. In their haste, the attackers were forced aside, creating an opening. He took the opportunity to push me out. The pursuers swarmed forward, and I watched helplessly as a saber struck Dusan's back. Dusan. The immense impact forced Dusan to his knees. He used his saber to support himself, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and grinned at me. Madam, hurry and go. Ah. I went mad and shot the sleeve darts in my hand. Come on, kill me, you rebels and traitors. My husband will not let you go. Dusan, who had gotten up, staggered but didn't forget to shield me behind him. Madam, hurry and go. We go together, or we die together. Your subordinate will definitely keep Madam safe. After Dusan spoke, he grabbed his saber and charged forward again. Why bother? Madame Du, surrender early, and neither you nor your subordinate will die. The sleeve darts in my hand were aimed squarely at him. Yu Xiaodong, you colluded with the third prince to plot treason. Aren't you afraid of your entire clan being wiped out? Humph, a woman's opinion. When the third prince ascends the throne, I will have the merit of supporting the dragon. It's this point now. Madam, you should worry about yourself. After speaking, he coldly ordered, kill him. Dusan was quickly swallowed by the crowd. Dusan. I let out a fierce cry and was about to rush up to help, when Yu Xiaodong grabbed my wrist. Madam, come with me. Don't keep me waiting impatiently. Let me go. As I struggled, an arrow shot directly towards Yu Xiaodong's arm. He released my hand, and I took the opportunity to retreat 2 steps, picked up the saber on the ground, and held it in front of me. Madam, the reinforcements had finally arrived. Hurry and save them. When Dusan was rescued, he was covered in stab wounds, some so deep they could see bone. The wounds kept gushing blood, and I couldn't stop it. I held back tears and said, just bear with it. We'll find a doctor right away. Dusan grinned and said, Madam, my life was given by the Marquis. When the Marquis left, he instructed me to guard his most precious thing for him. And I did. Seeing the blood constantly flowing from the corner of his mouth, my heart was twisted like a knife. Stop talking. Dusan didn't listen to me. He turned his head with difficulty to look at the Du family soldiers beside him. You guys protect the madam well, and wait for the Marquis to return. Yes. After speaking, Dusan let out a low growl. Marquis, we'll meet again in the next life. After saying that, he lowered his head and became silent, closing Dusan's eyes. Dusi, with red eyes, asked, Madam, what do we do next? I stared at the direction Yu Xiaodong fled, gritting my teeth. Go to the Imperial Palace, and settle the score with the third prince. The usually heavily guarded palace gates were now wide open, and the sound of fighting inside the palace was deafening. Madam, Dusi looked at me, and I calmly said, kill our way in. Yes. The Du family soldiers charged into the Imperial Palace like tigers descending a mountain, quickly carving a bloody path. Where is the third prince? I grabbed an eunuch, who said in terror, the Imperial study. Madam, you stay here. My brothers and I will go. I shook my head. All my hardships in my past and present life were caused by the third prince. I must kill this person with my own hands. Divide into 2 groups. One group follows me in. The rest will act according to the situation. Yes. As I led my men closer to the Imperial study, I was discovered by the third prince's men. I decided to show myself and led them directly inside. Inside the Imperial study, the third prince was brazenly sitting on the dragon throne, playing with a dagger, forcing the old emperor to issue an imperial edict. Seeing me, he stared at me with a cold, evil, and charming gaze like a poisonous snake. Madame Du. Chapter 10. Resolving the crisis. Leaving together. Yes, I, Chuisher Yu Ran, wife of Marquis Wuan, pay my respects to your majesty. Seeing me, the emperor was agitated. Chuisher, quickly, apprehend this wicked creature. Seeing that I didn't move, the third prince laughed heartily. Father Emperor, this woman's parents are in my hands, and even her husband is my man. You expect her to save you? Haha, how ridiculous and pathetic. I was shocked. The Marquis is his man. No, it's impossible. The Marquis wouldn't be confused about right and wrong and abet evil. Hearing this, the old emperor's face turned ashen. His cloudy eyes filled with anger. You killed your second prince brother, forced your eldest prince brother to leave, and now you want to kill me too, don't you, you wicked creature? When I executed your mother concubine, I should have killed you too. The second prince is dead, but what happened to the eldest prince? He was forced to leave. A person with a disability, where could he be forced to go? Old man, you dare to mention my mother concubine again. The third prince's expression was ferocious as he reached out and choked the emperor. I'll send you to see my mother concubine now. Go down there and apologize to her properly. Ascending the throne without an imperial edict is ultimately not legitimate. Does the third prince want to carry the name of a rebel forever? After hearing my words, the third prince turned around, his eyes ferociously looking at me. You want to plead for this old man? I'm thinking of the third prince. Thinking of me? Ha 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 ha. The third prince released his grip and laughed heartily. I am the chosen true dragon, and soon the whole world will be mine. An imperial edict is just a piece of waste paper if I don't want it. When I ascend the throne, who can say anything? The old emperor clutched his neck and pointed at the third prince, gasping for air. Consort Shui, kill this wicked creature for me. Kill him, and I'll make you a first-rank state duchess. A first-rank duchess. Thank you, your majesty. But this consort wishes to exchange this honor for a truth. What truth? The truth about the Battle of Linbeipo back then. The old emperor was stunned by my question. Seeing this, the third prince laughed heartily. Father, oh father, see, it's not that retribution doesn't come. It's just that the time hasn't arrived. This is what you did. Ha ha, heaven itself is helping me. Madame Du, I'll tell you. Back then, the old Marquis of Wuan had too much merit and threatened the emperor. This old man wanted to get rid of him long ago. At the Battle of Linbeipo, he secretly ordered the 3 armies not to engage, and then hypocritically blamed my 2 cousins for it, beheading them as a public spectacle. My imperial concubine went to beg for mercy and was killed by him with a sword, forcing this king to seal himself off in his manor, severing all outside contact. I've been biding my time for so many years, and my only thought is to seize his throne and kill him. After speaking, he looked at me with a face full of amusement. This is the truth of the matter. I wonder if Madame Du still wants to save him. So that's how it is. No wonder. In both past and present lives, the third prince wanted to attack the Wuan Marquis manor. He's just redirecting his anger. Pity the old Marquis Wuan. loyal to the country for 2 generations, yet ended up being suspected and schemed against by the royal family, even paying with his life for it. It's not my fault. It's Du Yuan's father. It's his fault. I, the supreme ruler, was led by the nose by a mere subject of mine. Shouldn't he be killed? I walked up to him and sighed. Yes, in your eyes he deserved to die, because you killed him. You've ended up in a situation where no one will save you. Who says no one will save me? Hearing the voice, everyone looked up. Who knows when the first prince appeared at the entrance of the imperial study, as he was pushed in. I then saw clearly that the person pushing the wheelchair was actually Du Yuan. Marquis, my eyes welled up as I rushed over. Du Yuan gently stroked my back. You've suffered. I shook my head, choked with sobs. I'm not suffering. It's just that Du-san. He died protecting me. Okay, I understand. Leave the rest to me. I obediently followed behind Du Yuan. Upon seeing Du Yuan, the third prince's face lit up with joy. Marquis Wuan, you've returned at the perfect time. Quickly kill the emperor for me. Once I ascend to the throne, I'll grant you the title of the first royal king of Dali. Thank you, third prince. Seeing him draw his personal sword and approach him, the old emperor panicked. Marquis Wuan, you cannot kill me. I am the son of heaven. You cannot kill me. The more the old emperor was scared, the more excited the third prince became. He shouted from the side, kill him to avenge your father. Clang, with a sword's ring, Du Yuan's sword was placed on the third prince's neck. The sudden turn of events stunned everyone. The third prince was dripping with cold sweat. Marquis Wuan, have you made a mistake? I am your ally. Third prince, stand down. No, I haven't lost. How could I have lost? The third prince roared maniacally. Marquis Wuan, I sent doing how to summon you to the capital, not to kill me. Seeing that Du Yuan's sword remained on his neck without moving an inch, the third prince instantly softened. He begged, Marquis Wuan, as long as you help me, you will have half of Dali's empire. How about that? I regret I cannot obey. No, you can't kill me. Your father, in-law's family is all in my hands now. If anything happens to me, they won't escape either. I'm afraid His Highness doesn't know yet, but before I returned, the person had already been rescued. How can that be? Impossible. Du Yuan didn't give him another chance to go mad, raising his hand and striking down, directly knocking the person unconscious. Take him to the celestial prison. Yes, the Du family army, who had been waiting for a long time, dragged the third prince down like a dead dog. Haha, good. I knew someone would come to save me. Marquis Wuan, after this matter is over, I will reward you handsomely. No need for rewards. Please just stamp this imperial edict. Your Majesty, Du Yuan said, taking out a prepared imperial edict from his embrace. The old emperor took the imperial edict and looked at the words on it, which stated the throne was passed to the sixth prince, and the first prince was appointed as the regent. He looked at the first prince and said in a flustered tone, so you were the last Oriole. The first prince said unhurriedly, within the imperial family, brothers are either dead or killed. If I hadn't sent people to protect my sixth brother in advance, he wouldn't have survived safely until now. With me assisting my sixth brother, father, you should be at ease. The old emperor's face turned ashen. All of this was your plan, wasn't it? You incited the third son to act, didn't you? Pushing the wheelchair, the first prince walked up to the old emperor and said, my third brother has been wanting to avenge his mother for years, and I merely helped him fulfill his wish. Good. Each of you has become capable. Learn to scheme against me. My children have truly grown up. The old emperor fumbled and took out the imperial seal and pressed it down, with force. After stamping the imperial seal, the old emperor slumped onto the ground, his body curled up as if his energy and spirit had been drained. Please rest assured, Father Emperor, my sixth brother and I will definitely guard this vast land for you. The first prince took the imperial edict, and pushed the wheelchair out of the imperial study. Du Yuan took my hand and said, let's go too. Inside the palace, the ground that had been stained red with blood was already clean spotless. If it weren't for the strong smell of blood in the air, no one would have known what had just happened. On the carriage, I couldn't help but ask, Marquis, how did you suddenly return? More than 10 days ago. That scoundreling how suddenly went to the border to be a lobbyist for the third prince. I flatly refused, but unexpectedly, the scoundrel took the chance when I wasn't paying attention and tried to assassinate me. After apprehending him, he said that the third prince had instructed him when he sent him, that if he couldn't persuade me, he should kill me in secret. Upon learning that the third prince was plotting rebellion, I then led my men towards the capital city. Fortunately, I returned in time. Du Yuan described it casually, but I knew the danger involved. After all, who would guard against the child they raised with their own hands? I gritted my teeth and said, how dare How do such a thing? After the third prince rescued him from prison, he has always been resentful towards you. In addition, the third prince promised that whether he persuaded me or killed me, it would be a great achievement, and the Wuan Marquis matter would be his in the future. He knows he can't go back to the Marquis matter, so he's gone all in. It's my fault. At the time, I only wanted to throw Hao in jail to get rid of him quickly, but I ended up implicating Du Yuan. Are you hurt? As I spoke, I hurriedly unbuttoned his clothes to check. Du Yuan uncomfortably clutched my hand and said repeatedly, Madam, please calm down. We'll look when we get back. A few days later, Du Yuan and I stood at Shirley Slope, gazing at the city gate. Madam, are you sure you want to go to the border with me? The new emperor has ascended the throne, and the third prince has been imprisoned and will never be able to leave the imperial clan court again in this lifetime. After being kidnapped by the third prince last time, Cui Yurong was so frightened that she is still disoriented. Cui Jingrong's family is currently unable to take care of themselves. In this lifetime, my great revenge has been exacted, and I have no more worries. Seeing me nod, Du Yuan took my hand and laughed heartily. Good, then this marquis will take madam to see the snow of the desert, and the sand of the border well. Giddy up. Two figures, leaning against each other, galloped away on horseback.